Hey, good morning everybody. It is Johanna's Food Tips and Food Tips with Johanna, actually. That's what I called it. I guess I'm having to stick to it. I'm so good at changing titles all the time and at changing my phrasing because I just get, it's like when I'm teaching and I'm supposed to teach the same course the same way, I just can't do it. I just have to do it a little bit different every day. But I am doing what I promised you to do. This morning, it's making a smoothie, and this time I'm going to let you see everything I do. I hope you're seeing it clearly here. And we're making a medicinal or a medicine smoothie. Oh, there is one thing I forgot to take out of the fridge, and that is the ginger. I'm going to get it right now. No, not here, but here. I think that's where I always keep it. And here is a big piece of ginger. So this morning we're going to start, for the last couple of days of the week, we have to give it another oomph, because toward the weekend we get a little worn out. Like this morning when I woke up, I was like, oh, I slept so much. But it's almost like when I sleep a lot, I think I slept fully 8 hours, which very rarely happens even in these days where I'm promising myself to sleep more. So then we're particularly sleepy feeling, or want to just linger in that semi-sleep. So for the end of the week, to give us a last boost, or for any kind of little things that you feel a cold coming up, or you feel you should be working on other inflammatory things in your body, this is a great booster. And it's just a regular green smoothie, but it just emphasizes a few things that you don't normally do. Like, I just went out in my little backyard and I picked some fresh things with their roots. I just rinsed them off. These are baby carrots, so to speak, because the carrots have to be pulled out anyway in between so that some can grow big. And there are some of these, I think it's called wood sorrel. There may be other. In German it is called sour clover, because it has a leaf that is a little bit like a clover leaf. So these are some baby carrot greens with roots, and I did rinse off the dirt, even though I know, and I'm always telling you, that we get our B12 basically from the microbes in the dirt. Of course, some will still be in here and on here because I just briefly rinsed off with a little bit of water. So that goes into our smoothie. Then we're going to have a big chunk of ginger. And let me see who's here. Good morning, Zoe. Good afternoon, Zoe. So happy to see you. And who is there? Jonas. Hi, Jonas. And, oh my God, my vision. Gabriel, is that you? All right. So my first people in the morning. Oh, I need to tell you something. The first video I did, where we had just a few people on live, was seen 2 days later already by 125 people. So I am really thrilled that you're all making use of these free little lessons and life lessons and happy, healthy, get old lessons. So I'm very happy. I'm also going to put all these morning videos, all these food tips with Johanna videos on YouTube, so at a later time you can tell your friends to find them there if you find that useful. All right, so the next thing that goes in is ginger, and of course it's organic ginger, so I'm not peeling it, I'm not doing anything to it. It has not been sprayed with some herbicide, pesticide that often gets sprayed on root vegetables so that they don't continue to sprout when they're not organic, you know. So this piece of ginger will actually, for example, this little knob here will continue to grow if I leave it lying in the fridge. And that's a good thing. That's a sign that it's alive and it's powerful and its medicinal qualities are much bigger. So today, because it's a medicinal smoothie, I'm putting quite a big chunk, and because it's organic, it's that much stronger in flavor and in effect. Then I am going for more nectarines, because these nectarines are so delicious. So here we have, you know, you could put peach or mango or that kind of sweet thing that adds to the luxuriousness of the flavor. Let me put this up a little so you don't get my head cut off all the time. There we go. All right, so that's the nectarine or mango or papaya or something a little exotic, or rather that kind of richness and flavor to round out the beautiful taste that you also want. So here is a nicely ripe organic pear. Of course, as you know, all my ingredients are always organic. Then it's the obligatory banana. I think I'll only put half. No, I think yesterday the kids drank some of the stuff too, so I'll put the whole thing. Then we have one piece of citrus, as I most often have. It gives it that freshness. And I'll show you, oh my God, these knives. So blunt, it is ridiculous. All right, I'll show you how I sharpen my knife now. Luckily it works on this knife. Some knives you can't sharpen anymore because the metal is not honable. It cannot be honed into any other shape. Let's see. Yeah, at least it cuts now. Alright, so this is but it's just not sharp enough. I need to get some sharp knives. My new assistant, Craig, who has done the Culinary Institute of America. He graduated from the other CIA, I always call it. It's the Culinary Institute of America. You know, he was telling me yesterday, yeah, he really got into knives at some point, you know, as they do. And he has a $500 knife. So I said to myself, well, I guess I gotta get this $17 knife that I was looking at the other day. I thought it was too expensive. But yeah, I need to get a good knife. I hate having to like saw through stuff that should be easy. So here I just have a half and half baby greens mix that goes in today. In addition to the fresh stuff that I got from the yard. What the difference is, I mean, this is good, this is baby greens, and it's good and has a lot of goodness in it, but the photons, that solar energy that gets into green leaves and becomes chlorophyll, and the photon part of it, I don't want to look up the exact science, but I know that it's measurable, and somebody devised a little machine a doctor devised a machine that measures the photon level, and the photon is that invigorating life force that's especially in greens and of course in all plants, fade away the longer the plant is removed from its source, i.e. the live, why I just pulled the live baby carrot greens and the wood sorrel. So the photons are evaporating the longer the plant is removed from its source. So when it lies around packaged in the supermarket, even though, you know, this is good organic stuff and there's lots of vitamins and things still in it, some of that life force is gone. And that's why I like to go into the yard or by the roadside or wherever if you go running in the woods, you know, pick up a little bit of dandelion fresh there and then, stick it in your mouth, or bring it as fast as or as immediately as you can to some mixture so that you get that extra life force. So that's also a medicinal effect. Then I'm going to put frozen strawberries because I love the flavor of strawberries, and also some blueberries. Soon there will be fresh blueberries, but of course there always are these tiny little packages for $5 you know, in the organic food stores where I shop, or in the supermarkets when they have organic corners as well. All right, so this is going to be purple, and the very well-rounded smoothies often are purple or brown. That's why I once wrote a piece in honor of brown smoothies, because we don't really talk about the fact that when you add to your green smoothie, for example, when you add raspberries or strawberries, it turns brown, but it adds a wonderful, wild, very vitamin-rich element when you add those red berries. So I'm going to rinse off my hands. I'm going to push you over to the sink so you can follow me, and we will get this thing noisy. A little bit of water. Of course, you can't do these smoothies without water. And, oh, now comes the medicinal stuff. And I did pull it up. Where did I put it? Oh, dear. Okay. Better organized, Johanna. Yes, here it is. The two more elements that go in here are cinnamon. Like I told you the other day, very, very rich in antioxidants. If one could eat it by the spoonfuls, it would be the most antioxidant-rich food tested. And however, so I have a big teaspoon here, and I put a heaped teaspoon in my smoothie, and actually I'm going to put another half, because it's a bigger smoothie, into the smoothie. And this is organic cinnamon. It's Burmese cinnamon. Yeah, origin is Indonesia. So sometimes the supermarket cinnamon you buy has flavor, but it's a little dusty. So if you can get a cinnamon that is in its consistency, often even a little bit, as if it still has a little bit of humidity in it, so it's kind of a thick powder. And of course, if you want to be adventurous, you add a little bit of cayenne. I'm not going to take it out of here actually. But you know, we get our spices, because it's a leftover from our factory, in these pound bags directly from an organic spice company. And however, I fill it into a little glass to use at the table or for cooking, but the kids cook, as you know. And I'll put just a little sprinkle of cayenne on there. All right. Now comes the big test. And while this is running, I'm going to take you out to the porch, talk about our way of self-healing that has a lot to do with what we can do with food. All right, here we go. It's so loud! Oh, so we can sing in the morning. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, I love it. So we're out on my little porch, and I'll show you, you know, the yard where wait a second, where I picked my little direct ingredients. You probably have a lot more if you have a bigger yard, or if you are in a city yard. Often we have particularly lots of dandelions and or daisies. It's a little late in the year for both of those to find more, but you can still find them. I need to learn more about wild edibles, so I'm going to learn more and tell you as I go along. And it is indeed a purplish brown. And Katya, if you're watching, I hope you saw. This is a very delicious yet very healing mixture. And because of the ginger and the cayenne, it has a kick to it. So for the kids, I would leave out the cayenne and make it a little less ginger, but they can normally handle the cinnamon very well because it, you know, reminds them of cinnamon buns or cinnamon cookies or cinnamon granola for that matter. So it's a wonderful thing to have in the morning. This cayenne, because it's organic and because it's a very powerful type, you know, there's all sorts of levels of hotness in cayenne. So this cayenne is pretty strong, and as I'm drinking this, you know, I feel the heat going down into my stomach, and it does heal, it does balance out all sorts of imbalances where you could have too much of one bacteria and not enough of the other. I often talk about the fact that when we get sick and have colds, for example, or viral infections, often these are viruses that live in our bodies always, but just have to be in a balanced proportion to one another so that they do their job without getting out of hand. And often it is just this getting out of hand and one bacteria or one group of bacteria overgrowing the others that causes the sickness. You know, and yes, of course, if we are among a lot of people who have an overgrowth of that one bacterium, we can still get additional infection from the outside, but most of those bacteria live in us anyway. And if we manage to keep a good balance, we become much less susceptible to getting sick. I don't have colds. Well, you know me, I'm doing this raw thing now for 14 years. I just don't need to develop that mucus that tells the body, you know, something is wrong here. We need to clean out, we need to find a way to balance it back out. And then you go through the whole cycle of sore throat and nasal drip and then full phlegm in your nasal cavities, and then coughing, and then the rest of it often being the cough at the end that slowly fades out. At least that's how my colds used to run when I had them. Cheers! If you're also doing it, write me a note, write me a comment that you're also doing it. Welcome, Mark. Do the same thing. You know, this combination of sweet and a little bit of spicy is something I learned from an Indian friend of mine who made me. He was an attorney, is an attorney, and was my private student in German lessons many years ago. So. And he would sometimes, we would have lessons at his house, and sometimes at Columbia University in my office there at the time when I was teaching there. And he would tell me or make me fruit salads that were spiced and with the spice mix masala, some of you will know it. And I just loved that combination, a salty, spicy fruit salad. So that's where I learned that fruity, spicy can be really satisfying. And that's the same in this drink. And as it is medicinal because of all the good vitamins that come from the fruit, and then the greens, and then those roots and fresh photons from the yard. And of course the cinnamon and the ginger being medicinal plants anyway. So here's to you. Oh my God, his name is on the tip of my tongue and it just won't come out. You know those moments? It'll come in a minute and I'll tell you when it's there. Ajay Sood. Ajay Sood, this is in honor of you. I hope one of these days you'll see this and know. And yesterday I had a wonderful friend of mine I wanted to tell you about quickly. Ajani Washington, they both start similarly, the names. Ajani Washington is a writer and is an actor who was in my short film Freedom, was the video version, and then the 16mm version was Agatha, an American Woman, which has won a couple of awards and has been in many shows around the globe. And he's just a wonderful writer. If you can find any of his plays being performed at Ajani Washington, you should go. He finds the fine psychological reactions in people and is able to display them in family dynamics, and I was just always thrilled to see his plays. Ajani, I need to get back to seeing your work. So it's interesting how some people come back together, and I mean, Ajani Washington and I go back. He was acting in my movie that is 30 years ago, something like that. Whoa, I am old, guys. I love it. All right, so this is my medicine smoothie this morning with other little bits of wisdom. And go ahead, do it. Create these kind of drinks for yourself. If you, of course, drink this whole thing, this would be food for a day. You know, I have other people in the house who will partake in drinking. My son just got a job at a health food store, which is awesome. He'll probably take a power drink before he leaves. Obviously, it's also best to drink smoothies right away after you make them, because the more they oxidate with the exposure to air, the less powerful they are. But if you fill this into a bottle, put a lid on it, and put it in the fridge, it keeps relatively fresh for even 48 hours. And you know, it's still better than drinking coffee or tea, or not that I want to take you away from your favorite drinks. Just add it. It still adds something that all the other drinks cannot add. So cheers. I think this morning is a short one. Let me see who else joined us. Olaf Muller. Oh my God, that is so cool. Hi Olaf. I am so thrilled to see you guys. So give my love to everybody in your family, Olaf. And I'm sure Soraya will be thrilled to maybe have Clara know about these videos, which can be watched later, of course, at any time as well. Let me see who else just joined. Lillian. Hi, Lillian. And I encourage you to start over from the beginning. I'll repeat one more time what is in this medicine smoothie. We started out with the greens from the yard, directly plucked from the ground, baby greens, including their roots, in the smoothie. Then we added nectarine, banana, an orange, pear, a really nicely ripe pear. These are huge pears, so I just put a half. Then we had frozen strawberries and frozen blueberries. And we had some 50-50 spring mix, you know, that's half spinach, half baby greens in there. And we had, now come the more medicinal parts, a good chunk of organic ginger with peel, because as you know, in many plants, the rich minerals are directly under and in the peel, because that's where most of the flow happens. You know from trees that directly underneath the bark is where most of the liquid nutrition goes up and down from the, well, up actually, not down. It is sucked, the minerals and water is sucked from the ground and flows up that tree trunk underneath the bark to the branches and to the leaves. And of course, reversely, the leaves absorb the sunlight and produce those photons we just talked about, and other chlorophyll, etc., other elements, and it all meets most concentratedly in that fluid directly under the skin, in the case of the tree being the bark, and it's a nice, very visual example of how that works. So the same is true for your apple and for your carrot and for your ginger, for that matter. So as it is still alive, and while the new sprout grows from the center, the flow of the nutrients and the minerals happens in the skin, directly underneath the skin. So as a combination. So that's my argument for putting skin in your drinks. Don't peel your apples, pears, banana, well, peel your bananas, although some people put the banana peel in there, but it becomes very starchy and very like, do I really have to eat this? There's a starchy bitterness to banana peel. Tried it, not convinced, so all the other ones that are more edible, I'll do it. Okay, and of course important is also that you have some fruits in your drink that contain the seeds inside of them. Now, while we take apple and pear seeds out, strawberries have their seeds on the berry. All berries are basically in and of themselves the seeds. Blueberries, of course, have the seeds inside of them. Bananas do have the seeds inside of them. They're tiny little seeds, banana seeds that make that pattern when you cut the banana. You see the pattern, it's threefold, it's a three-pronged pattern in a banana, and the seeds are right in there, tiny little seeds. What else do we have with seeds today? Yeah, so you have the root, you have the green, you have the fruit, and you have the seed. Some people count the stem separately, but you know, that's of course where the flow happens, etc. So yeah, you have a little bit of everything, and because of the medicinal root and cinnamon sticks, which are the fruit part, if I'm not mistaken, of the plant, but have that medicinal strength and quality, are both strong antibiotics actually also. So they therefore help balancing back the biotic sphere inside your body, inside your stomach, etc. All right, one more time, cheers, and praise to brown and purple smoothies, because that's the color you will get when you have all those different elements combined. All right. Oh my God, I guess I need to do this at a later time because you're all joining at the last minute. Hi, who is this? Lisa, Kelly, Lillian. Yeah. Well, you're going to have to start over and see the beginning at your own time. But here it is. I promise to answer all your questions. I promise to answer all your questions. Even though we now have 150 views on our first video, I promise to answer all your questions, so please do ask questions. And as you know, go to johannasrawfoods.com if you want to sign up for the newsletter, or if you have it and want specific instruction on, for example, making smoothies, or on any of the things, or the liver pate in particular that we had this week. Okay, let me recoup one more time all the things we did this very first week of food tips with Johanna. We had the first very simple smoothie, green smoothie with collard greens, banana, nectarines, orange, and strawberries. That was it. And it was very green and actually really satisfying, really delicious. Then the second day we made liver pate sandwich, and although I didn't give you the liver pate recipe, which I can't do in these morning sessions, for getting the recipes, join a workshop, request a workshop. I can do live workshops and online workshops. So if Zoe or Olaf want to get a live online workshop, we'll do it just like this, just for you and for your friends in your kitchen, and it will be exclusive to you. You will order it, and we'll go over what you want to learn in particular. If you want to do a smoothie workshop, or like I said, or a liver pate, or meat imitation, raw meat imitation. I make raw, I call it pastrami, because that's the nice spicy stuff that is served in Jewish delis in New York City, and it's kind of famous, you know. But you can make something that tastes just like that out of plants in the dehydrator, and it's raw, and it's thin little slices that you put on your sandwich like bacon, or like a slice of salami or pastrami. But pastrami is not very known over in Europe, but salami is, and you know, some people have also said, well, it's like a good salami. So we can learn how to make those things. Also the bread that I make, that I showed you the second day, there are lots of different breads that one can make, and they last for weeks, and especially you can also deep freeze them and keep them for much longer. And the third day we had I felt so strongly about, because I had talked to a client of mine about that, about validation and how important it is that we achieve and have in our life that other people value us, that other people consider us important in their lives, and that we should find a job or build a company where every participant feels validated, feels praised and loved. And you know, just in these last few months over in Europe, I've heard so often people coming to me and telling me, you know, nobody ever says thank you for, and I work so hard and I do the best I can and still it's not good enough. And you know, I need people to say thank you, that was a great job, I'm so happy you did this so well, etc. You know, we need that validation. It's like food to our soul, and if we don't get that, we wither away, we get very sad and very upset, and we start either bitching about everybody else, or we withdraw and, you know, feel disempowered, feel like we're just never doing a good job, nobody loves us. So that's what I talked about yesterday. And yeah, I want to encourage you all to make your life so, surround yourself with people, make your life so that you are among people who love who you are and what you do. And of course, having a beautiful body, having a healthy body, having a fit body, and that's for all of you who are in my age range. You know, I'm 63 going on 64. That's very important too, to be at home in our bodies, so people don't need to pity us. Oh yeah, she's old, we have to help her, blah 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 blah. You know, but that we can keep shining and keep contributing something meaningful to the world, and people can validate what we do, and people can love us for the fact that we're participating and contributing. So my age range too, if you want to stay fit for decades to come and keep contributing, keep getting that validation, your life can be so much happier than so many old folks sitting in nursing homes. I've seen them. It just breaks my heart. I just want to cry when I see how people age in our Western world and how people are treated who age in our Western world. So that has to change, and it's beginning to change, and I just want you to be part of those shining examples who show that we can be very productive and very happy and fit and in a body that functions and that has its own beauty. Yes, with all the wrinkles, but it shines and is beautiful throughout our lifespan, into the 100s. So that's what we're shooting for. So yeah, that's the validation that I talked about yesterday, and today I wanted to conclude the week with another smoothie that has more of that quality of getting your body back into that shape. So I've dressed the same way I was the first day, kind of straight out of bed, and making a smoothie in the kitchen, and knowing that you can get into your day with a smile and shining and being the happy example of a person who creates beauty and peace in the world and helps others to find their authentic selves as well. And that's it for this first week of Food Tips with Johanna, and have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all on Monday. I'll answer your questions, even if you pose them later or pose them to my email, johanna@johannasrawfoods. You can connect via johannasrawfoods.com, sign up, or just write a notification there, and I will respond. Take care, everybody. Love you guys, and I'm so happy that I finally started this series of tips with Johanna, food tips with Johanna, and everything else. Bye.